Welcome back to CBS News 24/7, a legal showdown playing out between the president of the United States and a federal judge. The issue at hand, the Department of Justice's defiance of that judge's orders to hand over more information on recent deportations of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is joining us now from New York. Katrina, the judge called the Trump administration's first explanation of those deportation flights woefully insufficient. So walk us through what the state secrets privilege is, because we're hearing about that a lot, and how does it figure into a deadline coming up very soon?
Reed, essentially you can think of this as sort of similar to an attorney-client privilege. It's when the government feels that sharing certain sensitive information in a court proceeding could endanger national security, potentially information related to military matters, for example. But when they assert this, the onus is on the government to convince the court that they have sufficient basis for using the state secrets privilege. So they can't just unilaterally assert this, Reed. There is judicial review over it. And the way that it plays into what's been going on is that the government has blown through these deadlines that the judge has been setting for them. And part of the reason, they say, is that they've been trying to decide whether or not they want to invoke this state secrets privilege. Just this morning, Todd Blanche attested that they have been having discussions about this, but they say it can't be done so quickly, which just shows the seriousness of raising this, Reed.
Well, and we just heard President Donald Trump asked about that, and how can you be sure that every one of the people who were detained and deported were what the president calls criminals? So there is that question still looming in the air. But I have to ask you, knowing that the judge wasn't happy with the first round of explanations, what happens if we play this out and the judge doesn't get the answers that he's seeking in today's hearing? What are his options? Yeah,
Reed, things have gotten very contentious between this judge and the government. And the next step could be potentially a holding of contempt. One of the deadlines that he's set is he's asking them to show cause for why they did not violate the court's temporary restraining order by failing to return those class members that were removed from the United States on those planes, because he had ordered that any planes that were already in the air should be turned back. And the information he's been asking from the government is more details about those planes, when they left, the timing of things, who was on them. As you mentioned, Reed, one issue here has been the lack of due process, that there hasn't been an opportunity to really vet who's being sent out of the country, to prove that they are affiliated with this gang, if that even is ultimately shown to fall under the Alien Enemies Act, which was really intended to be used during an invasion by a foreign government.
Well, you know, we're also seeing the president push back on other legal setbacks that he's faced in several of the executive orders. So then you think about this. How likely is it that the Supreme Court will intervene?
This is very likely, Reed. There's already one issue before the Supreme Court related to the nationwide injunction related to the birthright citizenship lawsuit. And the court is taking their time with this one. Essentially, what's being asked for right now is that the Trump administration doesn't want a district court to be able to impose a ban that applies to the entire nation. But we're going to see more and more of these cases escalate to the Supreme Court, which also has been a long-term strategy of Trump's, to get these cases to the Supreme Court, which has been quite favorable to him, even related to his own trials, Reed. Although he has recently gotten a rebuke from Chief Justice Roberts. Trump was calling to impeach some of these judges who are making rulings against him, and Justice Roberts very strongly said that impeachment is not the way to go. It is through the appellate process. But implicit in that, Reed, is that these could ultimately get appealed up to that very Supreme Court, where Trump has had a lot of their favor, but maybe he is now drawing a bit of the ire of the Chief Justice with his statements.
Yeah, I thought the Chief Justice's words could be interpreted as a message to the Trump administration on that very point. Katrina Kaufman, always great to talk to you. It's very important to have an asset like you who has gone to law school and knows how to take all of these things apart and explain them. We appreciate it today.